Good morning. This video is primarily for Graham, one of my customers, who sent me several pieces of oak wood. But I thought in the process I could actually share with you one of the methods that I use also for preparing my scales before I fit them to the knives. Now, those of you that have been following me will know that all my wood is stabilised where possible. So wood like oak, walnut and soft woods and koa woods. This is koa wood here. That's before stabilising, and that's after. The stabilising process is just something which I wouldn't skip now. Certain woods I do it, ebonies, desert ironwood and so forth. You can't really stabilise those woods because they're just so dense and you can't get the resin into the wood. So they don't need stabilising. But this is primarily for Graham, as I said earlier. He sent me some wood, and I just thought I'd show him the various scales that I've managed to cut from his pieces of wood. But in the process, also show you how I prepare the scales. So, firstly, here's my bandsaw. So it doesn't take much to understand that I got to actually cut my scales in half, which I've already done. Obviously I like to get them into block form before I do that, and I stabilise them in block form. But just over here, in the background there, is an old machine, very cheap machine actually, and I wouldn't do without this machine. It's I use it a lot, and from the sawn finish on a bandsaw, I go over to this machine and I flatten them off, and it takes a lot of the work out of it, but even though it's a fairly flat surface, it doesn't quite get them flat enough. So that's where the hand rubbing comes in. So that's where I move over to the other corner of my workshop, where I've got a, I guess you could call it a surface plate of sorts. And this is my surface plate. And what it is, it's a half-inch piece of plate glass, quite flat, with a piece of, I think this is 60 grit or 80 grit sandpaper, which has been taped. Another way of securing the paper to the surface plate is to coat it with spray adhesive for carpets. I saw Andy on Doberman Knives do that, and I thought that was a great idea, so something that I may adopt. Because when the wood comes off of the little grinder that I showed you, the little woodworker belt grinder, although they look flat, and I doubt the camera will ever pick it up, and they're pretty damn flat, to be honest with you. They're not perfectly flat. It's not as nice as I like to get them anyway. And another thing I do, I mark and number the scales. So I mean, this is number 3, and these, for example, are number 2. And then I put arrows facing inwards so that I know that's the inner surface. And also, when I come to fit these to the knives, I also know to keep these on the top. So on the top of the knife, so to speak, so that I know whenever I flip them, if I've suddenly got that on the bottom of the knife, then I know I've got things back to front. But anyway, that's another video for another time. So anyway, another thing that I do, you probably just glimpsed it, I mark the insides with a marker pen, being very careful to mark right up to the edge. And then just like that, and then the hard work begins. And let me tell you, hard work it can be as well. I've basically got now to rub out all the black, and generally I just do a backwards and forwards motion like that. And you can see I'm beginning to take out the ink. Now there's obviously a slight bow in the wood there, and that's why that hasn't been removed yet, and there's obviously a little bit of a low spot there. But I'll keep rubbing and eventually that'll all come out. We're getting there. Now I'm beginning to get a bit puffed. Oh yeah, dust mask. There we are. It's completely taken all the ink off. So that should be quite flat. So that's the scale flatted out. You can rub them together really hard and they'll stick. There you go. That's because, well, you get the idea. There they are. That's how flat they are. Now this is where I want a little bit of input from Graham. Some choices for you to make, Graham. These are the 4 sets of scales I managed to get from the wood you sent me. So from left to right, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So let's have a close look at number 1. I don't know how well it's showing it up. Scales number 1. Number 2, perhaps the prettiest, but also with a slight crack, which can be filled, no doubt. Often it's the way that the prettiest wood does have flaws like that, and that's nature for you. You just got to work with it, I'm afraid. That's number 2. Number 3. Quite a solid piece of wood and quite pretty. Number 4. So they've all got patterns in. So those are your choices. Anyway, that's it for this video, and I hope it's been of use to somebody, and I hope you like those pieces of wood, Graham. If you can let me know which ones you want, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I'll build them up for you. Should have the knife ready Monday, I should say. Thanks for watching, everybody, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.